been 8 months since my last annual calendar purchase from the AD, and now it's time to take the next step up. I've now made it into the Grand Complications, the peak category of Patek Philippe's collections. And this is what Patek Philippe is about. This is what they're known for, and this is what they do best. High complications enclosed in a thin, elegant dress watch case with a beautifully designed dial. And with this one, you can tell it is a Patek Philippe from across the room, if you know. This watch that I requested to view came in sooner than I expected. At my last visit, he said it would arrive by the end of the year, but July is much earlier than the end of the year. There's a lot to unpack here, and on this video, I'll try to answer some of the most common questions I get. So before dropping a negative comment, please stay towards the end of the video, where I'll do the questions and answers and explain my reasoning behind this purchase. I don't go after the normal hype watches or fashion. For my style, I prefer to wear a Patek Philippe dress watch with an Italian suit and dress shoes. I mentioned in my previous video that my decision was basically down to the 5320G or the 5327. These are the three least expensive Grand Complications and the smallest to wear on my wrist. By having a perpetual calendar complication and a moon phase, this meets the minimum criteria considered to be a Grand Complications piece, the pinnacle category of Patek Philippe. I ruled out the blue dial version of the 5320G because I already have the 4927A in a blue dial, and that would be too much of an overlap, and I don't sell my Patek. And I was still very unsure of the salmon color dial of the 5320G. The 40mm case fits my wrist, and overall, this watch has a young, fresh look to it and a masculine stance on the wrist. But in the end, the pink salmon dial was too risky for me, too bold, and too likely to stand out and attract attention. And this is a casual-leaning dress watch, like my 5226G and my 5212A. I don't need another casual dress watch. What I was looking for was more of a pure, classic formal dress watch, so I held off and asked to see the 5327R. I was expecting the 5327R to arrive much later in the year, but I got the call that it had just arrived, much sooner than I was expecting. Now I had the chance to look at both side by side at the AD. When I saw this 5327R, I loved the look of it. Pictures on the website can't be trusted, but in person this really shines. This was the formal, elegant dress watch that I was looking for. The rose gold color of Patek Philippe is unique. It's not nearly as coppery as the Rolex Ever Rose Gold, and it leans more towards a yellow gold. I'll take this out to lunch with me and bring it back home for the unboxing and take a closer look at this watch. The watch box for this perpetual calendar is standard for Patek Philippe. It comes with a shipping box, the outer cardboard box, and an exquisite polished wood presentation box. Underneath the box is the premium leather folio with the certificate with your handwritten name and address, and a brochure for the museum and the instruction manual. In addition, the perpetual calendar comes with its own watch winder, housed in the same type of cardboard box and made of the same premium brown leather. The watch winder is battery powered, and it comes pre-programmed to Patek Philippe's specifications regarding the rotations and frequency of rotations. One side of the cylinder is flat, and it's meant to lie down flat on this side. I was drawn to this dial because of its luxurious tone and character. The theme here is intricate complexity, balanced out by symmetry in a smooth, polished ivory dial. Everything is accented with the same soft rose gold that matches the case. Patek's rose gold is a very subtle rose, more of a yellow gold. The space management of the dial was done masterfully. The dial elements are full but not overcrowded, and there's enough empty space for the dial to breathe. The subdials at 3 and 9 o'clock are exactly the same size in diameter. The matching font of the lettering is exactly the same size. They both have the same indicator hands, which complement the leaf style hour and minute hands. 3 o'clock dial displaying the month and the leap year, 9 o'clock displaying the day and the 24-hour. Being a perpetual calendar, this watch does not have to be set again until the year 2100 because it knows all the leap years up until then. The subdials have a subtle recess, and at first I thought the background of the subdials a little too plain and maybe could benefit from a snail pattern, but now I've changed my mind. That would just add unnecessary noise and disrupt the clean ivory finish of the dial. The moon phase window has a pleasant sparkle from the gold leaf, which looks much better in person, better than I could capture here on the photograph. And the blue backdrop adds the only accent of color on the dial, but still complements the rose gold and the ivory. On the periphery of the dial are applied the classic distinctive Breguet numerals, and these are usually reserved for only the higher end pieces. The previous version of this watch was smaller in diameter and included stick hour markers, but with this larger version in 2017, they switched to the larger Breguet numerals to fill in the space. In between the numerals are small pearls of rose gold to mark off the minutes, and this is surprisingly legible to read. The case comes in at 39 millimeters diameter and a very thin 9.71 millimeters in height, despite the complications and automatic self-winding feature. The volume of the case is further reduced by the scalloped sides and concave bezel, and this also adds more visual interest, curviness, and elegance to the case. The lugs are curved down to better fit a small wrist like mine. The movement is the caliber 240Q. The base caliber 240 first arrived in 1977 and has been gradually improved over time. So this is a tried and true movement, and it's been modified to serve in many different models. This 240Q features beautiful decorations. It features a self-winding off-center micro rotor, which helps reduce the thickness and better shows off the movement. Made of 22 karat gold to increase its density and efficiency. This is my first micro rotor movement, and I've looked forward to owning one of these. Whenever you have a micro rotor, you know they've done everything they can to reduce the thickness of the movement. It also has the Gyromax balance, the Spiromax balance spring, 275 parts and 27 joules. It's shock resistant and anti-magnetic. Power reserve is 38 to 48 hours, accuracy -1 to +2 seconds per day. It carries the Patek seal, which meets 65 quality criteria over 4 categories of fine workmanship, precision, reliability, and service. The bracelet is made of alligator leather with large scales in shiny chestnut, which is a very dark brown. The color is a perfect complement to the rose gold case and ivory dial. I think Patek Philippe does a great job of picking out just the right strap for each of their watches. It comes with a rose gold fold-over clasp with the Calatrava signal buckle, which just presses in and locks in with friction. The regular size strap is too large for me, so they ordered a size small, which will take another 3 weeks to arrive. In the meantime, they punched a new hole at the AD, which now fits me well. There's still too much extra length left over, but it's not as annoying since it's now on the 6 o'clock side with this deployant clasp. I'll try to answer some of the questions that I get asked most commonly. Have you thought about buying on the gray market? You could have gotten this much cheaper on the gray market. I realize this, but I no longer buy on the secondary market. There was a time where I bought a few watches on the gray market, but now I only buy from the authorized dealer. If it's a current production model, I'll try to get it from the AD or I'll go without it. And this is because, especially with Patek Philippe, I like having my name on the certificate, I like being first owner, and I like knowing exactly what this watch has gone through. And I'm willing to pay premium for this extra luxury. Are you interested in the sports models? That's not all I'm focused on really. Yes, it would be nice to have, but I'll do fine if I'm never allocated a hot steel sports model. I still have my Rolex sports models, and I think Rolex does great at making sports watches, but there's much more to Patek Philippe than that. They have such a wide variety of designs in their catalog, and they don't all look the same. And I think Patek Philippe is best at making thin, elegant dress watches with beautiful case designs and dial designs. They're known for their beautifully finished movements, their annual calendar and perpetual calendar, which I'm now glad to own. The watch looks too large on your wrist. Maybe that's true, but the reality is that's how most watches are now. Most watches are large. To get a smaller watch for my wrist, I would have to go vintage, and I'm not quite ready to do that. Some of these watches are so beautiful and well made and would look better if they were slightly smaller, but I'm willing to wear a slightly larger watch just so I can experience these beautiful, well made pieces. Have you considered exploring other brands? I looked at Vacheron for a while, but I have no plans to move on to other brands for the foreseeable future, and I'm sticking with Patek Philippe. That being said, I did try on the 36mm Land Dweller, and this is the real deal. It's everything I hoped or expected it would be. A high quality bracelet, a good fit on my wrist, and an open case back. The dial looks great also. The honeycomb pattern is actually more subtle in person than it looks like in pictures, and I'm hoping to pick up this watch next year. And I also tried on the new release, a small size Cubitus in white gold with the blue dial. And I liked this watch seeing it in person. They fixed the size problem, and now it fits well on my wrist. This wears heavy and solid on the wrist, and I was impressed by the bracelet. It feels really well made and tight and solid.